Good morning, my sparrow mates. I'm so glad to be back with you. I've missed you for 2 weeks. It's really great to be back. I had an exciting time with some of our friends at Disneyland. It was wonderful. And this is my birthday week. I'm excited about that, all that God has done in my life. And so I get to share with you again. We're looking at it's called the Beatitudes. It's a number of statements that Jesus made about living life. And each statement starts with the word blessed. The word blessed, another translation of that is happy. So what Jesus is doing here, he's saying, do you want to know what makes you happy in life? Let me tell you. And so all these things that are being said that we're going to continue on are kind of a recipe for happiness. So here it is. Here, we got two this morning. Two happy statements, okay? I just came from the happy land, the magic kingdom. But this is the true happiness. The true happiness. One of the things that when you're in Disneyland, we stay at the Disney Hotel, and you'll go into the Disney Hotel, they'll say, welcome home. And I love Disneyland, love it, but it's not my home. It's the true home is here with Jesus and his kingdom. That's the real home. And so the first statement is this. Blessed or happy are the meek. I want to stop right there. That's not a word we hear all the time. Very little do we hear it. And so much so that when you hear it, I know even when I read it, I go, well, what is meek? What in the world does that mean? And I think one of the first thing is people think of, it means a person that just, they just have no spine to them, no backbone to them. They just kind of melt. But it's not that. It's actually the opposite. The person who is really strong has the ability to be meek. And the best example of this is Jesus himself. In First Peter, a book in the Bible, it talks about when Jesus was going to the cross, when he was being insulted, when he was being taunted, when he was being tortured, when lies were made about him. It said he did not revile back. He did not retaliate, but he left his cause with the Father. So here's the deal. Jesus is God. He could have retaliated, and he would have had the right to retaliate. That's the other thing. He was being treated unfairly, but he didn't because of a greater purpose. And he knew that his Father would be able to defend him. His Father would take care of him. So when it says happy are the meek, it means a person that is not always fighting back, trying to get their ground, trying to assert their rights. Instead, they entrust themselves to the Father. And the second part of that statement says this: happy are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Here's the crazy thing. The people that are powerful and arrogant, they try to tame the earth and make it their own and make their agenda. This is saying those people, they won't. They can go after all that stuff, the money, the power, the success. Jesus is saying, no, it's the meek person who entrusts herself to the Father will get everything. And so it's kind of opposite of what we think. Instead of trying to grab everything, it's like letting go and believing the Father provides for me. And so as a meek person, you get it all. You get all that God has on the earth. Ultimately, you inherit the earth. There's your first happy statement. Your second happy statement is this: blessed or happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. First of all, let's talk about hungry and thirsty. Anybody here ever been really hungry? Like you haven't eaten for a while, maybe you missed a meal. You're like, oh man, I am starved. Hungry. Or have you been on a hot day and it's just all of a sudden you realize, I am so thirsty. And when you're that hungry and when you're that thirsty, what do? Man, quick, over to In-N-Out, quick, get a hamburger, quick, give me a lemonade, give me something. I need to quench this thirst that's in me. And only food can do it, right? Only drink can do it. Well, Jesus says here a different type of hunger and thirst. Instead of for in and out, instead of for a lemonade, he says, happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. What the heck is righteousness? I used to think righteousness meant being good. So you would read it, happy are those who hunger and thirst for being good. It's not what it is. Righteousness means, very simply, right relationships. It means a right relationship with God, a right relationship with others, and a right relationship to your own self. And Jesus is saying those who hunger for that, who want a right relationship with God, who want to work on right relationships with others, who want to see themselves through God's eyes and have a right relationship to themselves, Jesus gives a promise. Each of these statements has a first statement and then it has a promise. Each one of these. Here's the promise for this one. Happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Isn't it great when you're hungry and you eat the In-N-Out, you're thirsty, you drink the lemonade, you feel filled, right? And it feels good. Jesus is saying here, when you hunger and thirst for right relationships, you will be so happy. You'll be so filled. There's nothing better in life than a right relationship with God, because he's the source of all things for our lives. There's nothing better in life than right relationships with others, relationships of love, of unity, of caring, of support, and you initiating that with others. And there's also nothing better in life than a right relationship with yourself. That means healthy self-esteem, self-love. I know who I am in God's eyes. I'm loved and I'm confident. So there you go. Repeat these two statements again. Happy are the meek. That's
Happy
each one
are
of
the
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, for they will inherit the earth.
But they will inherit the earth.
Happy are those who hunger and thirst for right relationships, for they will be filled. So this week, be meek. Let God, if you're treated wrongly, let God take care of it. Go to God with it. He's your defender. And you will inherit the earth when you go after him and not after your own agenda. Be hungry this week. Be thirsty for right relationships and go after those.
I'm not gonna
your
take
relationship with God, your relationship with others, and your relationship with yourself. Amen.